Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I'm certainly doing a lot better than I could have been, and there's a lot of people I've got to thank for that. Before I start, I just want to give you a little warning that if you've got kids who might want to ask questions, you might want to watch this first before you show them, or you might want to be willing to say something along the lines of, I'll explain it to you when you're older, because there are some sensitive subjects in there and some kind of confusing words that have difficult meanings along with them. So yeah, but I'm going to start from the beginning and I'll tell you a bit about my COVID journey, but I won't go into too much detail because the whole point of this is to thank people. And part of the reason that I'm going along my COVID journey is to remind me of the people that I need to thank. So COVID for myself and my family kind of started on Christmas Day, and my mum went to church. I think she had some sort of issue with her voice or something, but she didn't think anything of it at that point, and she went to church, and by the time she got home she had a mild cough, but it wasn't anything that she was concerned about at that point. And that day, on the Christmas day, I went for a nap and I got like chills, like right to the bone when I snuggled down, and I was like, something's not right. But at that point we didn't know what was going on. So over the course of the weekend after Christmas, my parents separately got COVID tests and came back positive and told me. And so that was it, isolation began. Now, before I'd really had any other symptoms, I was just incredibly tired. I realised on New Year's Day that I was just so tired. I didn't feel up to going downstairs for my dinner. So I pushed myself because I was like, I need to eat. I can't just not eat and maybe it'll make me feel better. No cough at this point, nothing. And so I went downstairs. Well, by the time I got halfway down the stairs, I thought, I need to sit down, I'm going to pass out. So obviously that was worrisome. And so we rang 111 and they arranged for me to go to Arrow Park. And as soon as I got there, I was met by somebody who knew I was on my way, and I was taken straight up to Ward 33 and given a COVID test which came back positive. And I was on there for 3 days, sent home with antibiotics on the 4th. When I got home, I noticed something weird with my arm, but I wasn't thinking straight. I couldn't lift my arm properly, and I have no proper memory of the days that I was in the hospital, the 1st to the 4th of January. I couldn't tell you. I only know one nurse that I saw, and that was because I saw her the second time I was in hospital. So that particular week, I'd got out on the 4th and I was trying to do my college work, and I would do an hour's work and I would need to sleep for the whole 24 hours till I did it, like till I tried to start my college work again. And I didn't want to eat at this point, wasn't interested in food. I was more tired than anything else and didn't want to eat my food. Well, Friday the 8th, by 8 in the morning, my mum came in to check on me and she was like, I don't like this, I don't like this. Now, I'm not going to go into details, just in case children are watching, but my mum called 999 and the paramedics came. Now, what I remember about that is they were very patient with me and they were very kind, and I'd managed to shuffle down the stairs on my backside to like this chair that they had waiting, and that was it. And I remember hearing the blue light and hearing the siren, and when we got to Arrow Park, there's this part of the siren that it just suddenly stops and it makes this particular sound. And so every time I heard it after that, it sent chills down me. And they took me straight into the resource department at Arrow Park, and I was very quickly put to sleep, basically. And the doctor that I saw, I remember him asking me if he could do it, and I asked him a question, and what I asked him wasn't even important, but he agreed to it. And so I agreed to being put to sleep and putting on a ventilator. And then I know nothing until I woke up a few days later. We can't say for sure when it was, because I don't yet have my medical records. I'm writing a book about my situation, and I'm going to get the medical records for it. ICU was very strange. I woke up in ICU. I was put to sleep in resus and woke up in ICU. But the staff there were amazing. They had to wear these suits, and they kind of looked like astronauts, but in a blue fabric suit. It was very strange. And so I had all sorts of weird stuff going through my head. But the ICU staff were amazing. They were so encouraging, and they were so kind and patient, and nothing was too much trouble. I was amazed at the doctors in the ICU. They weren't above helping the nurses with their kind of not so nice tasks between their medical tasks. And so I want to say a huge thank you to the doctors on ICU for being so good, and nothing was beneath them, nothing was like too much for them, and they would help roll me over in the bed and different things like that. So I want to say a huge thank you to the doctors in the ICU, because they were on top of every little thing, and they were so helpful. I want to say a huge thank you to the paramedics for being so patient and gentle while they were helping me out. And there was one particular nurse on the ICU. I'm not naming anybody in this video, but I nicknamed her Millie. That's not her real name. Millie, if you're watching, the famous YouTuber you remind me of is Missy Lanning from the Daily Bumps. So we had a whole discussion about that on the ward, and I never got round to telling her which YouTuber she looked like. So yeah, she was amazing. I remember the hardest thing about being in the ICU was seeing a 12-year-old boy in there. That was really difficult. He had COVID. He was in there while they were waiting, I assume waiting for a bed at Alder Hay. And that was really difficult to see. Not so much at the time, because I was kind of out of it, but that was really difficult to see. But a couple of days after waking up, one of the nurses, bless her heart, I'm so grateful, had my phone charged up for me, and I had 200 messages waiting. I nearly burst into tears there and then, and I was just overwhelmed. Thank you so much to every one of those people who messaged me. There was people from church, there was family, there was close family friends who'd messaged and were wishing me well. I was so grateful. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to my nephew, who's actually my cousin, but I call him my nephew. Long story. I want to say a huge thank you to my nephew for the funny videos that you sent me via your mum. They really cheered me up. Then the first time I remember meeting one of the porters was going up from ICU to Ward 33. The porters were amazing, each and every one of them. They'd chat to you on the way, they'd make you comfortable, they'd get rid of any nerves. Thank you so much to each and every one of the porters. I'm very grateful. As soon as I got up to the Ward 33, they were taking monitoring everything and making sure everything was okay as far as it could be. Nothing was too much trouble, and I kind of developed more of a relationship with 5 particular nurses who were really kind, and yeah, it was They were wonderful. There was one nurse, I wish I could say her name, but I don't want to because I know she wouldn't want me to. Sadly, while I was on Ward 33, two ladies in our bay, there was like bays of like 6 beds, two ladies on our bay passed away. Now, the first one we kind of were able to prepare for because we knew in the morning that she wasn't right and we knew what was going to happen. And the staff were wonderful. They were just, there was a sombre mood on the bay that day, and the nurses were wonderful, and nothing was too much trouble. And then by the time the second lady passed away, that was more difficult because that was really sudden. I was in a bed, she was in the bed next to me, so you've got the window here, there's my bed, there's this lady's bed, and I was chatting to the two ladies there, and it was almost a slumber party atmosphere. It was like 10:30 at night. We were chatting away, we were happy, and it was like a slumber party for like 40 and 50-year-olds. And then that suddenly took a very nasty turn. I noticed that the lady in the bed next to me, her breathing went into the pattern of somebody who was dying. And the hardest thing I've ever had to do is carry on a conversation with two people, knowing exactly what's happening. I can't say a thing, and that was really hard. And I pressed the buzzer, and the nurses eventually came. It was just there were short staffed that night, and the nurses came, and every minute felt like an hour that they didn't come. And that wasn't their fault. It was just really busy that night. And the nurse came, and I told her what was going on, and she went and got the other nurses, and they did what they needed to do. And just minutes after I spoke to the nurse, the lady passed away. And it was just a huge shock for everybody because we hadn't had time to get our heads around it like we did with the first lady. And although the first lady passing away was sad as well, and we did get upset, it was more difficult the second time round with this lady because it was sudden. And I didn't sleep that night. And then the next morning I spoke to one of the nurses, and she was amazing. If you're watching, thank you so much. She spoke to each of the three of us that were awake individually, and then later in the day she kind of got us all together, so to speak, and we chatted about it together, and it really, really helped. I'm so grateful. I will always be grateful for your help. I wish I could name you, but I'm not going to. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful. We also had a lady on the ward who I'm now friends with, who I try to keep in touch with as much as possible. She was such a lovely lady. I had one day where the physios came. I'd noticed my hands were particularly not nice, and I was desperate to wash my hands. Now, she was in the bed opposite me, and there was a sink next to her bed. So I was like, when the physios come, I'm washing my flipping hands because I am sick of my hands being so horrible. And so the physios came, and I got over, must have been about 9 feet from my bed, and I could feel my legs starting to go. And I collapsed onto her bed, and she was so sweet. The physios were amazing. They washed my hands for me. Thank you so much to all of you physios. You were amazing. You were so good. You were patient. You were supportive. You were friendly. I think one of you was a physio assistant, and you were brilliant. You were lovely. Thank you all so much. Just that simple act of helping me wash my hands. It sounds so little, but when your hands are disgusting and you've been in bed for days and you haven't been able to wash your hands properly, it just feels so good and it's really uplifting. And thank you to the lady in my bed who, her response to me collapsing on her bed was, "You can collapse on my bed anytime." As in, like, I don't mind, it's okay. She was trying to totally reassure me, and I'm grateful for that. And she was wonderful to chat to. She was so much, we were very similar. We both have a medical background in different ways, but we both have a medical background. We're both into horses, and yeah, it was just great chatting with her and sharing stories of different things. And yeah, thank you. I'm not going to name you, but thank you. You're a great company. And thank you to the other two ladies. They probably won't see this, but thank you to the other two ladies who were fun to be around while I was there. And yeah, there was one particular day in the hospital. It was very, very strange. Every so often they would have an audit. It's just one of the things they legally have to do. And because it was a red ward, a COVID ward, they had to insist that everybody had their masks on. And everybody slept. It was eerie, it was creepy, it was strange. And I'm certain it was because everybody had their masks on, because everybody's struggling with their breathing anyway, and then to have a mask on, it was just crazy. Everybody was asleep. And I remember the porters came again they were doing x-rays of everyone. The plan being that everybody would have an x-ray when they have the COVID infection, and then everyone would have x-rays again when they are kind of recovering afterwards. And so I remember being woken up this day and everybody was asleep. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. It was just so weird. And the porters took us down to x-ray. Well, there was no way that I was going to be able to I can't think of the word. I wasn't going to be able to move from the bed to the x-ray table. And transfer, that's the word I'm looking for. I wasn't able to transfer myself from one place to the other. And the x-ray staff were amazing. They helped me sit forward to get the plate put behind me. They brought the machine to me, which I know it's kind of something they do all the time, but when you're stuck in bed and you can't move yourself from one bed to the next, it's something that you really appreciate is them coming to you. Thank you so much to the x-ray staff for being so patient and helpful. And the fact that I was weak and couldn't sit myself forward at that point, it was really helpful to have them help me sit up, basically. And again, the porters were brilliant. Thank you again. And yeah, I went back to the ward and fell asleep again. And one thing that struck me when I was in there, everybody goes to hospital and they dread the food. Not Harry Park. Not Harry Park. The food was amazing. They had got a top chef in the country to look at their budget, look at nutritious meals and really nice meals, and put everything together. And the only thing I wished was that the portions were bigger. And that's just because it was so good. It was just really nice food. And so thank you to all the kitchen staff and everybody that's involved in that. I mean, I can't imagine trying to put out so many decent, tasty meals for goodness knows how many people 3 times a day. Just blows my mind. Thank you so much. I'm so, so grateful. And another thing that I found really helpful was the cleaning staff were great. They would come onto the ward and into the bay. They didn't just come and leave. They came and they had a smile on their face. If you wanted to chat, they would chat while they were working, and it was really nice. It was good to see, and they did an amazing job. Thorough, amazing job. So thank you to the cleaning staff. And I have to say, you're not just cleaning staff. Without you, the hospital would not be a good place to be. Obviously it's not anyway, but it would not be a healthy place to be. It would not be sanitary, and infection would spread like crazy. So thank you so much for the hard work that you do, and you do it with a smile on your face, which is great. And the volunteers, the porters and the volunteers did a great job in that. Without being able to have visitors, obviously it's not very nice, and so the hospital did like a support thing where people could bring things in for you, drop them at the support hub downstairs, and then either a porter or the volunteers would bring it up. Thank you so much. That meant a lot, because I had my pyjamas, like my brand new pyjamas that I'd ordered with my Christmas vouchers. I had Capri Sun, which my friend now drinks because of me, which I find funny. I had Capri Sun straight from the fridge. I had other useful bits and bobs. I had headphones, which meant that I could watch YouTube videos. Because I didn't want to watch the videos without headphones. I just felt like I was imposing on people. So my mum was able to send my headphones in to me, and just bits and pieces to make things easier. So thank you so much to the volunteers and the porters that made that possible. And the most important person to thank, I have to say, is my mum. She has been absolutely amazing. And yeah, the parcels, the care parcels that she brought into the hospital were just the beginning, basically. As soon as I came home, there was like a huge sign up saying "Welcome home, Jude." And yeah, the first week I needed a lot of help. Basically, one of the things they say is when you go home from hospital, settle on the level where your bedroom is and stay on that level for the first week, because you need to rest, and it just knocks you so much. You need to stay put. And so my mum was up and down the stairs for everything I needed. And at that point, thankfully, the bathroom is so close to my bedroom that I would get to the bathroom myself. But that was pretty much all I could do at that point. And I still need help now, with bits and pieces, but not nearly as much. And unfortunately, one of the things that I had happen while I was recovering was I lost probably about 60% of my hair. And my mum was amazing with that. She cleaned the shower afterwards because I was just too upset. She shaved my head because I realised that I was too upset to wash my hair again, long as it was after the worst shower I'd had. It just come out in my hand. It was not nice, and my mum did all that. She did all that, and thankfully now the help is a lot less that I need from her, because I don't like asking for help. I'm not good at asking for help. And yeah, when I came out of hospital, I slowly learned over about a week, 2 weeks maybe, I had over 200 people praying for me. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who prayed, each and every one of you who sent a message. I am so, so grateful. Thank you to those of you at HTC who are still praying for me. I'm so grateful. I'm more grateful than you probably realise. 200 people praying, that's amazing. And yeah, it just leaves me speechless. And most importantly, I have to thank God. And He had each and every one of you were praying that needed to be. Each and every one of you sent a message that helped me. Each and every one of you who helped me on the ward, care packages, the food really helped me in my recovery. Don't underestimate your job in the kitchen, people, please. Just, I'm so grateful for it. And yeah, thank you so much to each and every one of you. I just want to go through that again quickly. Thank you to the paramedics who were so kind. Thank you to the A&E team who got things under control so quickly. Thank you to the ICU team who just, thank you. I hope you understand what I'm meaning, but I'm trying to be polite for other people. Thank you to everybody who prayed for me. Thank you to everybody who messaged me. Thank you for the team on Ward 33, the physios, my friends on the ward, porters, x-ray team, the nurse who comforted me when that lady died, cleaning staff, kitchen staff, volunteers and mum. Thank you all so much. I'll always be grateful.